Stephanie Andres, who's running for chair. Stephanie, it's all yours.
Good evening. It's great to see so many people here. Thank you so much for coming out. Of course, you know we're here to have a discussion for individuals who are running for the chair of the Fulton County Republican Party. Why am I running? Well, when I was first elected back in 2015, I saw firsthand in the race that I was in, Republicans supporting a significant Democrat, which was shocking to me. So when I won the election, I started participating in the party, started watching what's going on, watching the functioning of the party, went to convention, went to precinct, county, state, and continued to see some of those behaviors, a lot of disorganization. So as an elected official, I supported the Fulton County Republican Party core principles. And that's important because when you see the elections that are happening now, a lot of times when they thought the red wave was going to happen in November, that was because everybody thought they were going to vote Republican. It was as I watched in Fulton County, it was pretty depressing because the election did not go well for us. We lost most of the races. We had a lot of seats that did not have a Republican running. They were running unopposed. And it was predictable because the people who won were great candidates. And the electorate and the grassroots were working with great candidates. They were principled, they were confident, they knew why they were running. And so my term ended in December of 2021. And as I approached coming up, evaluating everything that had happened in Fulton County, taking my business experience as well as my elected official experience, I decided to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring. I've been an accountant and a CPA. I've been an accountant professional for over 32 years, an executive for over 25. I'm a CPA. I was an elected official for 6 years in Johns Creek as a city council member. And when I look at the party, there has been very little communication because I was a member through 19, then focused my energy solely on being a city council member. Now I've come back. I've always been a Republican. I've always supported the principles. But I've been frustrated that the party hasn't always supported the same ideals. So I'm running because I have the experience, as I had just stated, in form and structure to help the party move forward. Originally, if some of you had heard me speak, my first 90 days are going to be critical because in July we have to have a full force ready, grassroots to be out campaigning and engaging for the primaries that are coming up. What's interesting is that the structure exists, it's just not activated. So when you look at my full plan on my website, I basically break out the vice chairs into initiatives between outreach and engagement, governance, legislative, affiliated groups, donor relations, and voter integrity. And you'll look under those pillars and you'll see all this work that's already being done by people. It just needs to be brought centrally into an organization where there is form and structure for business. You've got it organized, you're establishing strategic initiatives, you're setting up goals, you're using base data. I mean, what happened in the fall, we can only go up. So, originally I talked about building the brand. That's what we need to do. We need to build the brand of the party members as well as the external brand. So building the brand of the party members, following the bylaws, having meetings. I want to have meetings once a month. I want to sit down and talk about how do we start setting up a strategy. The first target areas should be the precincts and the precinct chairs and the precinct groups as well as the house districts. You've got some that are very organized. They know who all their precinct officers are. They know who's in their districts. They've walked them. They've understood all that. You have others that don't even have representation. The first focus would be to identify all those facilities, those precincts that are working well. Build from them, use them as mentors. Go to the ones that have structure. There's a training manual. There's a training manual Fulton County Republican Party has on these precincts. We need to start using those manuals, the instructions. At the same time, while we're building the external brand, we need to build a website that's robust, a website that's resource-based, that members can go to. It's not open to the public, but members can go to who need links to groups, links to videos for training information, who your contacts are, and start building that base. At the end of the day, for us to be successful in 90 days, we have to start really building and working towards getting the grassroots, getting you. You are we the people in this party, and we need to engage you. You need to be part of the discussion. You need to be pulled together, as do the affiliated groups, so that we're marching forward with a strong force. and we can do it. And that's why I'm running for Fulton County Republican Chair, and I'm here tonight, and hopefully I can earn your vote. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, no applause, please. I'll repeat, okay? Thank you very much. We just try to evaluate, okay? At the end, I'll tell you when, okay? Peter Corman. Thank you. There is a staircase.
Let's make sure I do this right before we Whose first time through a convention cycle is this? First timers. Great. Good to see you. Welcome to the party. You are going to make a choice, not on who leads this party, but who actually serves every single one of you in our precincts. My name is Peter Corman. I am here to give you a choice. A choice between an internal focus on the party itself and someone and a team of you who will develop an external focus, not on our party, but on our ambassadors, our messengers, and salesmen in each of our precincts that are closest to the voters, the 2,500 voters in round numbers in each precinct. I didn't join the party 3 weeks ago. I have been in this party since the last millennium. I have never been a Fulton County Party officer. I just want to get that straight. But I have served as precinct officer, precinct chairman, and House District chairman for several terms in House District 51, and most recently I was our candidate in House District 51. And being a candidate, it's a lot different than running an election and serving for others. You learn a lot about what the party can do and what the party should do. And this is what I learned. I learned that in working with other candidates, we were all doing the same thing and doing it on our own. But we're all doing the same things, recreating the campaign infrastructure every 2 years from start. That can't happen. We should, in every precinct, be running continually. We don't need to organize in 90 days for primaries for 2024. If we want to make Fulton County a smaller force in our life, not the Fulton County Party, but the Fulton County government, we have to get involved in our municipal elections this year. And it's a perfect training ground for precinct teams. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to take my mouth away from this microphone for a second. I want to take this org chart, you can hear me, and I want to flip the org chart. I want to put the precinct teams, you all, who lives in a precinct? Right, we all live in a precinct. I want to put the precincts on top. And the foundation of this org chart is the county party. And turn the county party into a true service organization. And what that means is that every functional area doesn't have just a vice chair. It has a team. The role, having been in this party for a long time, at the local level and the state level, the role of the chairman of the party and the first vice chair of the party is to be your greatest messenger, your greatest ambassador, your most extroverted person that gets out there and recruits and speaks to voters. That's the role. We'll have a vice chair for election integrity. We'll have a vice chair for finance. We'll have a vice chair for events. We will have a vice chair that is leading a team of folks. So if somebody goes away, we have that capability. I want to make the Fulton County Party and all of us certainly effective again. I want to make us relevant again. I want the party to be responsive to every one of you in this room, but most of all, for the sake of building community and the sake of building fellowship, I want to make this party fun again. I'm Peter Corman. I'm running for chair, and I hope I get your support. Thank you.
Please hold it with applause. Thank you. Dr. Francis, Sonia Francis Roll. There's a stairway there. You can get on the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me come all the way to Milton. But guess what? Gordon and I have to be at Cockburn Elementary at 5 o'clock in the morning on election day because he manages the poll and I'm the assistant. I'm very familiar with Milton. I'm a little late, but that's okay. Anyway, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sonia Francis Rowe. And I'm here to just share with you a little bit about myself. I'm running for Fulton County chairman. I've been in the party for about, since 2016. I joined the party because I was very inspired by the presidential candidate who was running in 2016. He was awesome. He opened up doors for everyone. He made us feel comfortable to join the party that everyone said was racist. Nobody wants to join the Republican Party if you look like me. And therefore, I joined the party, Gordon and we have been working ever since. We have not stopped working. I just finishing up my last term at the Everett election as secretary for 4 years. Again, was elected assistant secretary. I was first vice chair of the Fulton County Republican Women. Claire Bartlett, I don't know if she's here, but I have to give credit when it's due. Claire actually was the first person in the women's group that I met that encouraged me to run for office. I don't think that she knew I was going to be running for chairman one day. I thought she wanted me to run for anything at the time I came in, so I have to say that. And also, I serve on very many different other organizations. I was running the South Fulton Republican Women's Group there. And Gordon and I worked elections, as I just said. We worked election integrity. I started election integrity group in South Fulton because when I first went to work the polls and I saw so many irregularities, I was in shock. I mean, really in shock. And I said, oh my God, we never stopped ever since then. We did adjudication, we worked the polls, we did poll watching, we did the recount where we saw they were taking stacks of ballots and moving from one section to another section without counting. So we know there's a whole lot of issues with integrity. So those are some of the things that I'm very well knowledgeable about and experienced about. I'm a mom of 5 grown kids, a grandmom of 5 kids, married to Dr. Gordon Rowe, who's the vice chair of Fulton County Republican Party. And we do a lot of work in South Fulton. I belong to many other organizations in South Fulton. I stay mixed up with the Democrats, and they talk to me. I can get Democrats to join the party if we get more support. But they're afraid, just like everybody else, they're afraid to jump in the conservative party even though they are conservative. I will tell you the difference between Peter and Stephanie is that they can't go into some communities that I can go in. I can walk into communities, I can talk, whether it's Milton or whether it's South Fulton, I can do that. I can talk about my conservative values. They don't even have to look for me to see is just what I do. Everyone in the South Fulton area knows that I am a Republican. I'm not afraid of it. I've ran several different offices as a Republican. Some of the Democrats don't like it, and some do. But one of the things I want to do with this party, last night we had an event, a Black History event, David Schaefer, Burt Jones, the whole gamut. Everybody was there. We missed an opportunity. We missed opportunities of getting other people to see Republicans in the midst. We know that the 2020 census says that the minority population is increasing. My big thing for the next 2 years, if I were to be elected, is to get out and reach out, because according to the census, the white population is decreasing. And the African American minority population is increasing. There's so many other things I could talk about, but my time is running out, and I just want to, I'm glad to come up here to share with you. I'm Dr. Sonia Francis Rowe, and I'm running for chairman of Fulton County Republican Party.
Thank you. Stay there. Don't sit there. Peter, come on up. Stephanie, come on up. Have a seat. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start with questions alphabetically, last name. Stephanie will go first, and Peter, then Sonia, and then we're going to rotate as to who goes first as we go. It's pretty simplistic, but it gives everybody a chance to go first. Okay?
Tom, how many minutes per question?
2.
Thank you.
Each candidate has 2 minutes to answer a question.
You have a timer?
Okay, Stephanie, the first question regarding the county convention. With the upcoming county convention, do you support the use of paper ballots only for voting at the convention? Please state the reason you support or do not support this method of voting. If no, what form of voting would you prefer? State the reason.
I absolutely support paper ballots because, like any other voting, you're supposed to be able to privately vote who you want to and not have any consequences. And so, I was at the party 2 conventions ago, not the last one, the one before, and people literally were having to stand up for something that was up, and people actually looked at me and said, I can't stand up and vote the way I want to because I'm afraid of the ramifications of people perceiving my vote. So I think the best way to make it fair and equitable is to follow the same thing when you go, in essence, and close that curtain and you vote. No one knows who you voted for. You should do the same thing for the party convention.
David, repeat it.
No, I think I've got this. I've been the Sergeant at Arms, or on the Sergeant at Arms committee for every convention in Fulton County, including the unfortunate job of coming in the night before 2 years ago, when I thought I was going to be a happy delegate. I most certainly support paper ballots for the officer roles, but there are a whole lot of other items that we vote on. And the Sergeant at Arms Committee is in charge of taking those votes. Some votes are handled well by a standing vote. No votes are handled well using tiddlywinks. Let's get that clear for the future. No tiddlywinks. Paper ballots, definitely for the chair race, the first vice chair race, the secretary, the treasurer, and the assistants in those roles. Those are your 2 chief salesmen and promoters and organizers. And your secretary and your treasury teams are your chief administrative officers, which is, if we had a functioning party right now, everybody would be working together. We wouldn't have the problems with that. But for other votes on rules and a host of other things that come up at the convention, I would recommend standing votes, but definitely paper votes. And Sonia, just while I have the chance, Sonia, I was the first white officer of the company that owns the Atlanta Life Insurance Company, the first white officer in 115 years. I can go anywhere and everywhere in Fulton County. I was in the Urban League. There were only 2 white guys walking around, but I was one of them. I am comfortable in every community in Fulton County, and the Fulton County Party should be comfortable from Milton to Union City. Let's go get them.
Sonia, you want me to repeat it?
Sure. 2016, I came into the elections in Fulton County, and it was very interesting that there was a fight then regarding how the elections were being conducted. And when I came in, I was in total shock, because coming from running various organizations in my lifetime, the way I saw the elections run, I said, whoa. And there was a big mess because there weren't paper ballots. And people were standing up. Some people were afraid to stand up to vote for the people that they had said that were going to vote for. It was just a total mess. I don't understand why we would have something other than paper ballots. I mean, paper ballots is the norm. That's what we should be using. There's nothing else for us to use. I was not involved in the planning. I guess Peter and everyone else was involved in the planning at the time. And anyone knows that when you used to have something other than paper ballots, you were not going to have election integrity. That is what we talked about with everyone else. The Democrats are bad with election integrity. Why aren't we doing the election integrity? And I tell you, it's very important for us. So right now, we don't even have the proper process and procedures that needed by the executive board. However, people are going along with the folks complain, but we are hoping that, I told people in the 2021 election, if you want to get elected, bring paper ballots, and they didn't use them. So we have to be more vigilant in participating. The executive board is responsible for running this organization, not the chairman. The chairman facilitates the executive board, and that's how it's supposed to run. So with that, I would say yes, we have to have paper ballots, nothing else, nothing more. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter, you're up. We've had multiple questions on this, so I'm going to craft one out of this. The GOP, there's a preface to this. The GOP cannot afford to lose. I'm sorry. What? Okay. The GOP cannot afford to lose future generations of voters. What is your plan to educate, engage, and empower the younger voters at 19 public high schools in Fulton County to get involved with our party and get out the vote in order to be one step ahead of the High School Democrats of America? High School Democrats of America is active in 30 states, uses social media platforms such as Instagram and TikTok during election season, and that's the routine. And there's a map provided of the number of chapters that are active in Fulton County.
I'll stay on the stage for this one. This is important not just from the Teenage Republicans, where we have a great relationship. They're a great organization. I don't know whether Sonia and Stephanie have ever been to their meetings. It's very encouraging. And yes, it starts in the schools. I am running with the first vice chair. His name is Gabe Hardwig. He's in the room. I'm running with Gabe. We're a combination. Gabe was president of the Atlanta Young Republicans, where he doubled the membership to the point where it's twice the size of the Fulton County GOP. Thank you, Gabe. If you could stand up for just a second. Gabe was awarded Chapter of the Year for the Atlanta Young Republicans from the National Young Republicans Organization. He is a showman, he is a salesman, and most of all, he is our route to bringing in the 20-somethings, the 30-somethings, and the 40-somethings, so in 20 years we don't have tumbleweeds rolling through our breakfasts. The importance of bringing in 20, 30, and 40 is because they serve as a magnet for the teenagers. They see success. The Republican Party can be fun. We can be relevant, we can be strong, and our values make sense to these kids so they're not living in a cancel culture and totalitarian environment. Thank you for being here, Gabe.
Sonia, you want me to repeat it?
No, I'm good. My husband, Dr. Gordon Rhodes, is a social studies teacher. And what we have been doing the past several years is we take, in the African American community, our kids are not very well educated. So Gordon takes the kids out of the school and he brings them down to the state capitol. He shows them and explains to them what's going on in the process. He also teaches the children the difference between what is a liberal and a conservative. Some know, some don't know. And that's the age that you get those children to be involved. He has been excellent. We can work and partner with teachers. Gabe is going to work with anybody, no matter who who gets in as chairman, Peter. Sorry to tell you, but should Gabe win as the first vice chair, Gabe is going to happily work with whomever he has to bring those younger folks in our party. So I'm not going to talk about Gabe. I'm going to talk about other things outside of the party. Working with teachers. Teachers are yearning for their kids to do something. Now, I'm not talking about going to a Democratic teacher and say, I want to bring this kid to join the Republican Party. That's not going to happen. But if we have activities, partner with organizations outside. We have tons of organizations out in the community that we can partner with. Educate them, talk to them, bring them to the Capitol. And once they get a hang of it, my kids have gone from Democrats to conservatives real fast. All because I have been talking, and they've been watching me. They went from liberal Democrats to independent conservatives. And I'm so happy. It's so easy. They said, Mommy, I didn't know that you can do all this. Yeah, I guess I'm a conservative. Yes, you are. So all we have to do is educate the younger people. And so it's not enough time to talk about all the things I would do, but of educators, we do have that opportunity to work with the teachers and the schools and the community. It's just not walking in and having Gabe go do all the work. It's getting everybody involved. Thank you.
Stephanie, you need to repeat on that?
No, I'm good. Okay, what would I do to get the party to be with the younger generations? There isn't one single answer, and what has been clear is that we have done a whole lot of nothing, comparatively speaking. And as you can hear, there are a lot of different opportunities. One of the biggest things is getting a full-fledged branding campaign and getting people who are experts in social media, people who are experts in being able to communicate out, because we have to communicate to that generation in a means that they understand what's going to get them involved. Because right now, they're being taught in the schools that Republicans are just a bunch of old, white, racist stereotype, right? So that's what we have to, we're combating some of the things that they're learning in the schools that you can't change overnight. And from my perspective, a lot of your branding is going to come from your actions. So getting in the community, the party, you're not necessarily pushing conservative values per se, you are through your actions. And you're getting in the schools and hosting events, but you're wearing the brand and they're seeing you. And I think that also, when you're looking at, many of you know that you're in different groups, right? Like Gabe, you've got lots of people who have different experience throughout the party. It's centralizing that, pulling everybody together, and also gaining the information from them about what they know, what works for them, what could work in Buckhead may not work in North Fulton, what could work in North Fulton may not work in South Fulton. So there is not one single answer, but at the end of the day, congregating ourselves, getting the information out there, finding subject matter experts, getting a branding initiative is going to get a foothold in there. And as we go through the process, we're going to learn. There isn't one answer, just like there's not one answer for why you're involved in the party. So I would be there to help facilitate pulling that structure together, having those conversations, and figuring out. And that's why those monthly meetings for the executive and the operating committee, because you have precinct chairs, you have so many people in there, are critical. So thank you.
Sonia, you're up next. Do you support the uncodified practice of allowing a Fulton County mass meeting caucus attendee to enter the name and voting information of a non-attendee as a